You know, sometimes it's the quiet fights over things we all need, like water, that really shake things up.
Hmm.
And right now, there's a big one brewing between Punjab and Haryana. It's actually gotten serious enough that Haryana is knocking on the Supreme Court's door.
That's significant.
Yeah, think about it. We're talking irrigation for crops, the water people drink every day, and, well, the whole balance between states. So let's take a deep dive into this water dispute.
Absolutely. It's a critical issue. And for this deep dive, we're mainly looking at recent reports from the Indian Express.
Okay.
Our goal here is really to get past the headlines, understand the heart of the conflict, the history behind it, and just how tricky it is to share something so essential.
Exactly. Why now? What's the trigger? What are the different sides saying? It's also, I think, a really good way to look at how Indian federalism works, or sometimes struggles, with resource management.
And very relevant, as you hinted, for anyone studying for the UPSC exams. This is a classic case study.
Definitely. Interstate relations, resource conflicts,
Yeah.
it's all there.
So let's start with the immediate spark. What set this off right now? Well, Haryana asked for more water, specifically an extra 4,500 cusecs from the Bhakra-Nangal project.
4,500 cusecs. Okay, maybe for folks like me, what does cusec actually mean in practical terms? Like, how much water are we talking about?
Good question. A cusec is a cubic foot per second. So it's a flow rate. 4,500 cusecs is, well, it's a lot of water flowing every second, enough to make a real difference for irrigation or city supplies.
Okay, got it. So substantial demand. And Punjab's response.
A firm no, basically. They didn't agree, and instead referred the whole thing to the Bhakra Beas Management Board, the BBMP.
Ah, the BBMP. Which leads us to a key meeting they had recently. What happened there?
Well, the vote at that meeting really laid bare the different positions. You had Haryana, Rajasthan, and Delhi all voting for giving Haryana the extra water.
Okay, makes sense for Haryana, and I guess Rajasthan and Delhi have their own interests tied into this system.
Exactly. But Punjab, unsurprisingly, voted against it in Himachal Pradesh. They abstained, didn't take a side.
Interesting. But the vote itself wasn't the end of it, was it? Because despite that BBMP decision favoring Haryana.
Right, here's the crux. Punjab is reportedly refusing to actually open the extra sluice gates at the Nangal Dam needed to release that water.
So the board says yes, but Punjab says no.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And that refusal, that's what pushed Haryana to say, okay, we're taking this to the Supreme Court.
Yes.
They want the court to enforce what they see as their rightful share.
And Punjab's not just sitting back, right? They're talking legal action, too.
They are. They're calling the BBMP's decision unprecedented and are adamant no extra water will be released. It really shows how high the tensions are running.
Wow. Okay, to really get a handle on this, we probably need to step back a bit, talk about the history here, the Bhakra-Nangal project itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Its roots go way back, even to the 1910s, but it became this huge symbolic project for India right after independence. Built on the Satluj River, you had the Bhakra Dam in Himachal, Nangal Dam in Punjab. Nehru took a personal interest.
Right, one of those temples of modern India. Huge engineering feats.
Exactly. And then things changed politically. 1966, the reorganization of Punjab happens. Haryana is carved out. Himachal Pradesh gets statehood.
And suddenly you need a way to divide the water from this massive project between the new states.
Precisely. That's where the Bhakra Management Board, the BMB, comes in. It was set up under Section 79 of the Punjab Reorganization Act, specifically for that purpose, managing water distribution.
Okay, so the BMB was the precursor. How did it become the BBMP we're talking about today?
Well, in 1976, its responsibilities grew. It also took over managing projects on the Beas River, like the Pando and Pong Dams. So its name changed to reflect that Bhakra Beas Management Board, or BBMP.
Got it. So now it oversees water from both the Satluj and the Beas. What's its main job today?
It's the central body. It handles the yearly allocation of water from these rivers to all the partner states. Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, Himachal Pradesh, and even Delhi gets a share.
And how do they decide who gets what?
It's an annual process, usually starting around September. They look at predictions for the monsoon, check the water levels in the reservoirs, and then figure out the shares for the coming water year.
Okay, so what are the shares for this current water year, the ones causing the friction?
Right. So for this year, the BBMP allocated 5.512 million acre-feet, that's MAF, to Punjab.
Yeah.
Haryana got 2.987 MAF, and Rajasthan got 3.318 MAF.
MAF, million acre-feet. Can you give us a quick sense of that unit, too?
Sure. An acre-foot is the amount of water needed to cover 1 acre of land 1 foot deep, so a million acre-feet. It's a huge volume, typically used for large-scale water resources.
Understood. Now, Punjab's argument seems to be that Haryana has already taken more than its share.
Yes, that's a key part of their argument.
Yeah.
They're claiming Haryana has already drawn about 3.11 MAF.
Which, if their allocated share was 2.987 MAF.
Exactly. Punjab is saying Haryana's already at 104% of its share for the year, and the water year isn't even over.
That does sound like a serious claim. And Punjab is also saying they really need their canal water because their groundwater is running low.
That's another critical point they're raising. Groundwater depletion is a massive issue in Punjab, so they're becoming more and more dependent on surface water from the canals. Makes these allocations incredibly sensitive.
And it's not just groundwater, is it? The overall water situation seems stressed. The dam levels are low.
Very much so. The reports paint a worrying picture. Rajit Sagar Dam is down almost 17 feet compared to last year. Pong Dam, nearly 32 feet lower. Even Bhakra is down about 12 feet.
Wow. Why such a drop?
It seems to be largely due to less snowfall in the Himalayas, which, feeds these rivers. So the total amount of water available in the system is less than usual.
Which just makes sharing it even harder, I imagine.
Absolutely. It adds a whole other layer of tension to these already complex negotiations. Everyone feels the pinch.
Okay, so that's the context and Punjab's perspective. But Haryana sees things very differently.
Completely differently. The Haryana chief minister has come out quite strongly, accusing Punjab of playing dirty politics.
Strong words.
Yes. Haryana's core argument is that they simply haven't received their fair rightful share of the water over time. And they're stressing an urgent need right now, particularly for drinking water.
Drinking water. Which areas are most affected?
They're highlighting districts like Hisar, Sirsa, and Fatabad, which are apparently facing drought-like conditions. So for them, this isn't just about irrigation. It's about basic needs.
So both sides feel they have urgent, valid reasons for needing the water. It sounds like a really tough spot. What are experts suggesting? Is there a way through this?
Well, based on the Indian Express reporting, some water experts are suggesting a sort of pragmatic, maybe temporary solution.
Okay.
To saying, look, maybe figure out a short-term arrangement, share some extra water, specifically to deal with the immediate drinking water crisis in Haryana.
Just for the drinking water need.
That seems to be the focus of this suggestion. But, and this is crucial, they insist that the overall state-wise quotas, the established long-term shares, must not be changed.
So, like an emergency measure, but without rewriting their rule book.
Exactly. A temporary fix for an acute problem. But there's another important condition they mentioned. Fairness.
Yeah.
If Punjab does release extra water to Haryana now, there needs to be a clear understanding, perhaps even a mechanism, for Punjab to be compensated later. Maybe get a bit extra when conditions allow, to balance things out.
Ah, I see. To make sure the overall legal allocation is respected in the long run.
Precisely. It's about maintaining the integrity of the agreed-upon system, even while addressing an immediate crisis.
Okay, let's try and pull this together. We have an immediate flare-up. Haryana needs more water. Punjab says no. It goes to the BBMP. They vote yes, but Punjab refuses to release it. Haryana goes to the Supreme Court.
Right.
All of this is happening within the historical framework of the BBMP, managing water from Bhakra-Nangal and Beas projects since the state reorganizations. And complicating everything are these worryingly low water levels in the dams, likely due to less snowfall.
A major factor.
Both states have strong arguments, Punjab pointing to existing allocations and groundwater issues, Haryana pointing to drought and drinking water needs. And experts suggest maybe a short-term share for drinking water, but with compensation, keeping the main quotas intact.
That sums it up well. And you can really see, can't you, how challenging resource sharing is in a federal system, especially when the resource itself, water in this case, is becoming scarcer.
Absolutely. And for our listeners, especially those preparing for the UPSC, this is just packed with relevant themes.
Definitely. You've got interstate relations, the functioning of institutions like the BBMP, the legal aspects, the politics, the environmental pressures, understanding the history, like the Punjab Reorganization Act's role, is key.
It really makes you think, looking beyond this immediate crisis, what could long-term sustainable solutions look like for these kinds of water disputes in India? Because this isn't the only one, and likely won't be the last.
A critical question.
Yeah. Given the history, the growing water stress, the need for states to cooperate, what kind of legal tweaks, environmental strategies, or maybe even political approaches could actually work in the long run? Something definitely worth pondering.
Food for thought.
Well, hopefully this deep dive has shed some light on the complexities here. If you found it useful, please do give us a like, subscribe for more discussions like this, and let us know your thoughts or questions in the comments.
We'd love to hear from you. And just to reiterate, our main source for today's discussion was the Indian Express.